discuss about subject called automobile component design, in which our chapter is design of IC engine components. In this design of IC engine components, we have different types of components. But before getting into the specification, we should know about what is this IC engine. So IC engine is a type of prime mover which converts our chemical energy into some useful work. So this machine, or you can say specifically an engine, which converts a chemical reaction or chemical energy from any gasoline or diesel, gasoline which is petrol or diesel, into some useful work by arranging this component in a certain way. So before getting into the specification of this component, we should know about each and every component and their working. So to know about that, we should know the cylinder and piston assembly as well as each and every component, how they connect with each other and function. So in today's lecture, we are going to have an overview regarding to this components. Okay, so the first and foremost component, or we can say the assembly of this component, is done goes like this. In cylinder cavity, our piston moves to and fro, which connected by connecting rod to crankshaft, and this crankshaft is ultimately provides power to our transmission shaft. So this is how our components are connected. Clear? This each and every component we are going to design in isolation. So our first component is cylinder and cylinder liner. Clear? So while designing this cylinder and cylinder liner, we should know about what is function of this cylinder and cylinder liner. Cylinder is a cavity which facilitate or which helps to piston moves and downs, or you can say cylinder helps or cylinder facilitates our piston to have that to and fro motion with respect to our IC engine without losing any type of fuel from that cavity. Okay, clear? So this cylinder cavity, outside this is cylinder. Clear? In this diagram, this is just an informative diagram. We are going to we will draw a very specific diagram or go very specific diagram when we are going into the specifications of the cylinder and cylinder liner. So this outside is cylinder and this inside is piston. So first we will talk about cylinder. So when our power stroke occurs, as you know that first stroke is suction, then compression, and ultimately power stroke. At the end of compression stroke, blast of our fuel occurs and power stroke will start. So meanwhile this blast will create immense amount of pressure and heat energy inside our cylinder cavity. And ultimately this heat inside our cavity will try to create force, or you can say pressure, on our each and every component. So this pressure will going to affect directly or indirectly to our all the components. Clear? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the components will directly affect by this pressure generated by our charge. Okay, burning of our charge. So how this cavity, or you can say cylinder cavity, will react against this pressure? I will give you just an information about how we are going to design this cylinder. Actually, we are going to design cylinder in like in previous chapter. We have talked about design consideration. So our concept, or you can say algorithm, will follow that design steps only. Clear? But what kind of force? Because this force is going to determine mechanical mechanism, its shape, its material selection, and even manufacturing process. Clear? So first of all, we should know about what kind of force it will come across. So consider this piston cavity, here cylinder piston cavity. When blast occurs, this blast will create pressure all around this cavity. So when this pressure exerted on the wall of our piston and piston head, or cylinder and cylinder head, it will comes under two types of forces. Like if this is a cavity, clear, cylinder cavity, then this force will occur laterally, or you can say circumferentially, to our cylinder cavity or cylinder liner. Clear? It will tend to open your cavity up. Means it tries to blast itself out. Okay, blast itself out. So our design for cylinder should be against this forces, which is called lateral force, and this force will create stress on the circumference of our cylinder. So our first design is for this kind of stress which is occurs circumferentially to our cylinder. Second type of stress will try to create pressure on top of, or you can say vertical side. Clear? Vertical side of our cylinder. One is horizontal force, another is vertical force. This vertical force will directly affect cylinder head, and the cylinder head will comes under direct pressure, or you can say direct stress. In case of our circumference it is shear stress, but in case of our head it will be direct stress. So ultimately we are going to design our cylinder by considering two aspects. One is shear stress acting on circumference and direct stress acting on top of our cylinder head. Clear? After this cylinder, we are going to design this piston. Now, how we are going to design this piston? This piston assembly will be like this. This piston is connected to our crankshaft through our connecting rod, and it is placed inside our cylinder. Clear? And which has transient fit with our cylinder with the help of rings provided. We will talk about this ring quite specifically after, when we are getting into this piston and piston ring, or you can say dozen ring. Here you can see each and every components, but piston and piston we will right now it's just an introduction about each and every aspect. So what kind of stresses will occur on our piston? Piston is the most vital component when it comes to IC engine. So before getting into this specification, we should know what kind of stresses it will come across. So one is direct stress. Direct stress due to blast of our piston, or you can say blast of our fuel. Clear? Which is directly acting on top of our piston, which will directly create, like if it is piston, here if it is piston and this is our top side, then one kind of force will directly pressurize our piston to go in the downward. But this direct pressure will going to resist by inertia of our piston. And what inertia? What is inertia? Inertia is a resisting force of any body, or you can say resisting phenomenon of any body against any external force or in changing of its direction. So how this inertia force will act, or how this inertia force will occur. So this inertia force basically it came from all the weight or all the connected component hub. This piston is connected to connecting rod, then crankshaft, then this flywheel. Then each and every component will exert inertia against this blast. Clear? So this blast has to, or you can say this fuel blast has to come over or get over. Clear? This inertia. Clear? Okay, so this blast should have that much sufficient which can move our piston to up and down for this remaining 3 strokes also. Clear? Okay, so this piston will come under direct stress as well as second, which is one of the most vital stress, which is called heat, or you can say thermal stress. How this thermal stress occur? By consider this. In the when this blast occurs, immense amount of heat energy will release, and this heat energy it try to dissipate in all the direction in form of 3 types of heat transfer. One is conduction, another is convection, and third one is radiation. So you know about what is conduction, convection, radiation, but I will give you a brief about those phenomena or heat transfer phenomena. Conduction, it occurs when body will not going to move. Okay, so particular body will not going to move, but heat flux will travel through one point to another. Let's assume this is a body. If I am giving heat, or you can say increasing heat at this end, the heat flux will travel across this body from that point to this point without giving any change of particle. Here this particle of this body will remain at the same position. That is called conductive heat transfer. In convection, consider if I am putting some kind of water on our gas, or I am boiling that water on our gas, then what happened? Particles which are at bottom of our, you can say any kind of you have put any type of thing on that, or you can say some component, clear? Then that particle tends to go upward, clear, due to difference of that density, and ultimately that particle will exchange the place with above particles. So in the case of convection, heat transfer takes place due to interchange or exchange of these particles, clear? And ultimately this heat transfer occurs. And in radiation, it doesn't require any types of medium, like in the case of sun. Here it has a electromagnetic energy to transfer heat. So ultimately in case of this piston, all three types of heat transfer takes place. But convection will cover predominant part of heat transfer. So while considering thermal stress, we are going to consider convection as a major phenomenon to increase that thermal stress. So while designing our piston, we have to consider its power generated due to this force. Clear? How we are going to calculate its power? Its power depending on its calorie, or you can say energy generated due to this blast. Clear? So ultimately this energy will give us a power, and ultimately this power will lead to forces acting on our piston. And there are two types of stresses will occur. One is direct stress and one is thermal stress. Then after our connecting. Connecting rod is a component which connects piston with crankshaft. So connecting rod it is kind of a link between piston and crankshaft, which converts that reciprocating motion into revolutionary motion. This connecting rod also comes under complex type of forces, but these forces are not thermal stress or direct stress. It is a type of forces which is indirect stress, or you can say indirectly acting stress. So while designing connecting rod, we have to consider major two type of stress. One is bending stress and another is called buckling stress. And for that we have to consider connecting rod as a cantilever beam as well as short column. So this connecting rod will going to design as a cantilever beam as well as a short column. Clear? Ultimately design of this connecting rod is making two parts. One is big end and one is small end. This big end will connected to our crankshaft and small end is connected at our piston. Clear? This big end is shaped in, or you can say manufactured in two parts. We will get into how manufacturing process occurs as well as material aspects. Clear? In detail. After that, we are going to design is crankshaft and crank pin. What is this crankshaft? Crankshaft is one of the major component which converts this reciprocating motion into revolutionary motion. Clear? The reciprocating motion of our piston into revolutionary motion. This crankshaft is the most complex kind of a design. Why? Because it comes under immense amount of stress which is non-coplanar and non-concurrent. How this non-coplanar and non-concurrent force occur? This non-coplanar and non-concurrent forces occur due to our piston connecting rod connection, as well as it has flywheel as well as belt drive mounted on that. So this shaft has complex system of forces which are acting throughout its periphery, or you can say from all the three-dimensional forces, which converts into complex system of forces. And ultimately we are going to learn about valve gear mechanism. Specifically, you have come across this valve gear mechanism before, like camshaft and cam and follower design. No, we are not going to do that, but we are going to design this valve, specifically valve rather than rocker arm and everything. We are going to design valve, its shape and size of this valve, and ultimately material aspect of valve depending on whether it is inlet valve or exhaust valve. And after that, we are going to learn about miscellaneous components like flywheel, like intake and exhaust manifold, and ultimately we are going to develop CFD analysis of that intake and exhaust manifold. So this was your introductory lecture about IC engine component design. We are going to start with cylinder and cylinder liner in next video. Thank you so much.